Before the legends, there was the Prince of Macedonia. This bust captures a young Alexander, as he would have been known to his contemporaries, a mortal student of logic, shaped by a rigorous philosophical education. Yet within a decade, this student of reason would transform into a looming figure who demanded his subjects bow to him as a living deity. His transformation required a complete break from the worldview of his tutor, Aristotle. To move from the rationalism of the Greek schoolroom to the absolute demands of a god-king was a radical ideological shift. This wasn't merely a personal descent into ego. Alexander was constructing a new kind of kingship, a political blueprint for absolute rule that would later inspire the divine cults of the Roman emperors. The blurring of Alexander's humanity began at his birth. Legends focused on his mother, Olympias, suggest that his divinity was established before he even took his first breath. Plutarch records a dream where a thunderbolt struck Olympia's womb, causing flames to spread rapidly. The story effectively replaced his earthly father, Philip, with Zeus. Philip supposedly had his own vision, seeing himself seal his wife's womb with a lion's image, a symbol of the superhuman power Alexander was destined to possess. Ancient commentators disagreed on whether Olympias actually promoted these stories, or if they were later inventions designed to justify Alexander's meteoric rise to power. Regardless of their origin, these myths established a narrative of destiny. Alexander was no longer just a king's son. He was a being of divine origin, destined for greatness from the moment of conception. In 332 BC, Alexander marched into the Libyan desert to the Siwa oasis. He went to consult the Oracle of Amun, a god the Greeks identified with their own Zeus. He entered the temple as a mortal tinkerer. When he emerged, the priest reportedly hailed him not as a king, but as the son of Amun. Some historians suggest this pivotal moment was a linguistic accident. They argue the priest, struggling with his Greek, intended to say, "Oh, my son," but accidentally used a phrasing that sounded like "son of Zeus." Others see the hand of Alexander's court historian, Callisthenes, suspecting that the divine greeting was a calculated fabrication intended to legitimize Alexander's rule over the Egyptian people. Alexander embraced the title. Later currency, like this silver coin, depicted him with the ram's horns of Amun, a visual declaration that he had moved beyond humanity and into the realm of the gods. The Siwa visit served as a functional conversion. Divine status gave Alexander the necessary leverage to consolidate his power over an empire that was beginning to span 3 continents. Ruling this territory was a logistical impossibility. To the Greeks, he was a general, to the Egyptians, a pharaoh, and to the Persians, he needed to be something far more absolute. This geopolitical reality forced him to reject Aristotle's view that all non-Greeks were barbarians. To keep his empire together, Alexander had to integrate his people, not segregate them. He adopted proskynesis, the Persian custom of bowing and prostrating before the king. While it outraged his Greek officers, it was a pragmatic tool to secure the support of the Iranian upper classes. Eventually, the line between politics and personality dissolved. Driven by Homeric ideals of honor and glory, Alexander began taking suicidal risks in battle, seemingly convinced that his divine father would ensure his survival. His divinity became the administrative glue of his reign. To hold his disparate peoples together, he stepped away from the role of a traditional king and toward the identity of an unapproachable god. This transformation came with a heavy price. His Macedonian generals, who viewed Alexander as a first among equals, viewed his demands for worship as a betrayal of their own traditions. Resistance triggered a wave of paranoia. The result was a series of executions and the murder of his most loyal commanders, including Clitus and Parmenio. Academic accounts of his personality conversion detail these crimes, but highlight a secondary truth. Historians may have exaggerated his arrogance to explain his impossible success. Because original texts are lost, we navigate a historical record where his actual behavior and legendary exploits are inextricably linked. Alexander's path from prince to deity provided a successful blueprint for imperial rule. By adopting the mask of a god, he created a system of divine kingship that would reshape the Mediterranean and inspire absolute rulers for centuries to come.